Lesson 5. Using funnels to stay compliant. There are instances where you need to create ads for very sensitive products or services. When I say sensitive products or services, I'm not referring to anything bad or anything, you know, you know what I mean. I am referring to products and services that are prohibited or restricted from advertising on Facebook. For instance, adult products. Now, in this kind of situation, you would want to use a funnel to escape policy violations. So what I mean is that you still want to advertise your product, you still want to take advantage of the power of Facebook advertising, but at the same time, you completely want to avoid violating Facebook's policy. In order to do this, you must design an advertising funnel that is compliant with the policy. Now, you might be asking, how is that possible? Because the products, the services, they are already in violation of Facebook's advertising policy. So how's it possible to design a funnel that's compliant? Now, there are two sections you must understand, or two different, let me say, angles to which Facebook considers ads. The first is the ad that is seen on Facebook. That's your creative, your ad headline, your ad copy, and your link, right? And then there is the landing page, which is your link in essence. So Facebook checks your ad, the one that displays on Facebook, and also what people see when the moment they land on your website. Those are the 2 points of consent to Facebook. So anything that happens after that time, right, is of less importance when it comes to policy violations. So that is exactly what you're going to design. We want to create an ad, right, and a landing page that is compliant 100% with Facebook's policy, and then use that opportunity to promote our products and services that are likely prohibited or restricted. Now, it's quite easy to do because you might be thinking, oh, what's a funnel? How am I going to go about that? And don't worry, I'm actually going to show you, not just theoretically, I'm going to give you really practical examples that can help you truly hone this skill of using funnels to stay compliant. So I want you to follow me. I want you to pay rapt attention. I want you to take note of the details of what I'm about to share with you. So I'm going to be giving you two examples. One is real estate ads, and the second one is men's health products. Now, these are two maybe opposite products or services, whatever you may call them. But I've chosen these two very different examples so that it can give you a broad way to think about using funnels to stay compliant. So let's start with real estate ads. Now, for real estate ads, I want you to picture this scenario. Assume that you've been made the agent of a property in California, and your job is to find a buyer within the next couple of weeks. Now, to advertise this property, you're going to be faced with a policy issue, and the policy issue is this limitation of the special ads category. So currently, if you are in the US or you're in Canada, you advertise real estate, you've likely already heard of the special ads category. It doesn't affect only real estate. I think it also affects financial services and a couple of other, verticals. But for real estate, the moment you select special ads category, it kind of limits the targeting options that is available to you inside of Ads Manager. And as an advertiser, you don't want to be limited when it comes to targeting options, because you want to be able to test different things and see what works best for you, right? So you can optimize your ads. But if your ads don't really give you much options to target, and then you're somehow limited. Okay, now there's a policy gap that we can exploit. And the policy gap is that it is compliant to advertise an educational material, even if it's on real estate. So if I'm advertising an ebook or a course or a video or whatever on real estate, I don't need to select the special ads category because it's not a property in the real sense, it's just a material. So for our funnel compliance, we create a top of funnel material that is compliant, and we use that to fill our funnel with likely prospects. So, what is a top of funnel material? A top of funnel material is a material that helps us identify people who are likely prospects. That means the kind of people who should be interested in this top of funnel resource are people who are keenly interested in taking the action that we want to promote in our ads. So for in this example, where we have a property in California that we hope to sell, or a house, we could create a top of funnel material like this example below, which is 5 common mistakes to avoid when house shopping in California. 5 common mistakes. Now, I don't think someone who is considering buying a house in California in the next couple of weeks, months, or years would just glance past something as powerful as this and just disappear, right? The likely case is that they will want to find out what those 5 common mistakes are, and they will want to avoid them while shopping for house in California. Now, this is not the very best example, but it's just to give you an understanding that this is a kind of top of funnel material that can attract and, get the attention of someone who is willing to take action for that original product. So I want you to look at it again. The scenario is you want to sell a property, and now the top of funnel material is helping people who want to buy property avoid some mistakes that you have not really discussed in detail in the title. So that is an example of what a top of funnel material is. So let me show you how the whole funnel is going to play out eventually. Okay, so the funnel starts with our ads. Now the ads says, okay, 5 mistakes to avoid when shopping for house in California, and it leads them to a landing page, the top of funnel page. Now on this top of funnel page that you can see right here, I've named it TOF page, we kind of deliver the value we've promised them, which are 5 common mistakes to avoid. And then just beneath the page, or still on that page, we show our related offer and say, okay, there's this property in California that we think you would like, right? And of course, I'm not going to teach you how to impute that. As an advertiser, you're already supposed to know how to play around copy and play around offers, right? So you just state your offer here on this orange section, like somewhere after delivering the value you promised, and tell them, okay, click on this link to check out this property. Now, when they click on the link, it takes them to the property page where they can now, maybe check out the details of the property, see if they're interested, schedule an appointment or an inspection or whatever, however your funnel would have normally flowed. So what I mean is, if you were allowed to advertise on Facebook with all the information you wanted, the ads you wanted, the kind of landing page you wanted, that's what you're going to do after you've when you get to the property page. So from your ads should be talking about the 5 common mistakes, right? And then your related offer should be talking about the property. It should look like the ad that you would have created if you were allowed to just advertise real estate straight from Facebook, right? So you can entice people, get their attention to click on the property page and then take up your offer. Now, not everyone who lands on this top of funnel page would take that action. And to be honest, it doesn't really matter. Those who are keenly interested would take the bait. So I hope you see how it works. So from the ads to the top of funnel page, we are compliant. We're not violating any Facebook's policies. We're not violating any sort of rule, right? On the 2 parts that concern Facebook, which is the ad and then the top of funnel page. Okay. Then you just skip to the property page where you can now put all the detail that you think Facebook won't be interested in seeing. Right. So that's how it would work if it were real estate ads, and we're trying to. It of course it could work for several other industries, products, niche, service. I'm just trying to give you a broad idea of how things play out. So now let's go to the next topic I want to talk about, which is how to find top of funnel topics. So you might be wondering, how do I get top of funnel topics? How do I just craft one out for my own business, for my own product, for my own service? It's kind of hard to do, but I want you to realize that finding top of funnel content is actually very easy. It's easy, and it becomes easier for you to identify them, right? When you can identify what a client at that stage of the funnel is looking for. And don't worry about racking your brains and all of that. I'm just going to tell you, clients at the top of funnel stage are looking for information. So if you look at the image we have by the top, by the right of your screen, is it right? Okay, the image you can see on your screen, I don't know how you're going to be seeing it. By the right of my own screen here, right, you can see top of funnel. Now, top of funnel content, you can see middle of funnel, you can see bottom of funnel. Okay, so that's how people flow. So a funnel is simply the steps or the processes that a person takes from when he hears about your product to when he becomes your customer. So he becomes your customer when he's at the bottom of funnel, and he just falls out of the bottom of the funnel. Now, the middle of funnel is a different ballgame entirely. But then we have top of funnel, which is what I'm stressing on. Now, I don't want to, this is not a funnel class, so I'm not going to bore you with a lot of all those tofu, mofu, bofu stuff, right? You just need to know one thing, that at the top of funnel, your prospects are looking for information. Information on what, why, and how. Of course, there could be other, ways to demonstrate it, but the what, why, how is just a very simple technique or framework that you can use to craft out your top of funnel content. So for instance, for this real estate example, you can simply say how, right, which is the first one here, how to purchase a property, in California, whatever, right? That's top of funnel content. How to do XYZ. The next is what kinds of property to avoid in blah, 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 right? Why you should do this or blah, blah, blah before purchasing a property. So you can see, so you want to actually key into the how, what, and why, and try to, think deep into the mind of your buyer. You need to get into their mind and try to ask yourself, what questions are they asking? What questions are they asking that they might not even know they are asking? What areas of confusion do they have that they might not even know they are confused on until it pops up on their Facebook news feed or wherever they see your ads, right? So that's how to find top of funnel topics. Now, with that being said, let's move to the men's health product. Now, I want you to imagine this scenario. Imagine you have been contracted by a company who manufactures sex enhancement products, and they want you to advertise as a Facebook agency or a Facebook ads freelancer, right? And now you already know that sex enhancement product is an adult product, and it is strictly prohibited on Facebook. So you can advertise a sex enhancement product on Facebook. It's against the policy. The moment you do that, you might escape for a while, but eventually you get clamped down and your accounts will be shut down, right? So the policy issue, like I've said, is that the sales of adult products or services is prohibited. Now, but there's a policy gap in that same policy where we have the adult products and services. Now, you can promote adult products if they use contraception or family planning, and you're targeting an audience that is over 18 years, but you cannot talk about sexual pleasure, right? So to promote this men's health product, this sex enhancement product, we're going to use a funnel compliance method where we promote the top of funnel. It could be a resource, it could be a product, it could be a service, it could be an offer. But whatever it is, it needs to be compliant with the Facebook policy on adult products, right? It needs to be compliant. And at the same time, it needs to be strongly related to the kind of product that we want to advertise. So in this case, in this scenario we've created for ourselves, we're advertising a sex enhancement product, right? That could, boost a man's performance. All right. Now, our offer, we could choose to promote an offer. So this time it's not a product, it's not an educational material, it is an offer. We always say win 1 year supply of premium quality condoms. Click learn more to get started. So this offer is keenly related to the product we want to sell, which is a sex enhancement product. How do I mean? Of course, someone who is interested in winning 1 year supply of premium quality condoms is likely sexually active, is likely interested in sex. And so we've been able to get a matching interest. So the interest in a sex enhancement product or sexual performance is the same interest in quality condoms, which is great sex life, or safe sex, whatever you want to call it, right? So if we put out this kind of offer, the people who would likely be interested in our product are the ones who are going to click that learn more button. All right, so let's see how it's going to play out in the funnel. So let me give you a 30,000 foot view, right? So this is what's going to happen. So the person sees that ad telling him he could win a box of, 1 year supplies of free condoms, top quality condoms. And then he lands on a top of funnel page, right? The top of funnel page obviously is still going to be talking about the box of condoms that someone could win that could last a year. And on that page, we could use an opt-in, or we could just use a button and say, okay, click here to see if you qualify, or click here to see how to qualify, or enter your details to see how to qualify. Whatever you want to use, that's totally up to you. Now, make sure that this top of funnel page is optimized, both regardless of what you're selling, it has to be optimized for conversions. So if you're using a button, you want to ensure that at least greater than about 40 to 50% and above of the people who land on the top of funnel page are clicking to your next page. So if it's an opt-in where people have to leave their emails or the emails and phone number or whatever, or address, shipping address, enter your shipping address, enter the address will ship your box of supplies to, right? Whatever you're going to be doing there, it has to be converting well. So your content has to convert well. Now, don't get me wrong. You don't have to try to be too salesy or try to include words that are not compliant with the Facebook policy. You want to make sure your ads and your top of funnel page are compliant, right? And then when they click and get to the next page, you tell them, okay, great, you're here. You qualify for the offer if you try our product below. So you qualify to get into the draws or whatever we do to select the winner of the free box of condoms or whatever. And if you try our products below, now below you're just going to include the sales page. The sales page you would have used if you had ads sending your traffic straight to that sales page, right? So you sell the person on the sales page. Now, don't get me wrong, condoms are not the only loopholes. So that's your own task. So if this is something you're promoting, you need to go and think deeply. What would someone who is interested in, or a man in this case, who is interested in increasing his sexual performance, what else would he be interested in that would not be against Facebook's policy, that would be compliant with Facebook policy? And then you use that as the top of funnel, offer or page or educational material, and then you link that with the sales page, just as you have seen right here. So I want to thank you for sticking till the end of this video. This is how you can use funnels to stay compliant, to make sure that when you combine them with creating compliant ads, it really works magic with getting you the results that you deserve. So I will see you in the next lesson, where we'll be talking about the tips I'm going to be giving you for staying compliant and making sure that you don't ruin what the beautiful thing that you are building out using this course. See you in the next lesson right now.